So we are moving to Japan and my husband is not learning Japanese. What? He can talk a little bit and order in restaurants but can't read the menu. I'm constantly translating everything for him and it's exhausting. And just like that, everyone starts talking about the practical side of whether or not you can speak the language. But here's the thing, I think every non-Japanese resident should learn the language for reasons other than practical things. So stick around. By the end, you'll know exactly why, and hopefully the reward is big enough to get you and my husband motivated to learn Japanese. Why learning feels impossible? It's too hard. You'll never be perfect. You can survive in English. Do these sound familiar? A lot of foreign residents tell themselves Japanese is impossible. And yes, it's complex, kanji, formal speech, keigo, multiple scripts, but often those reasons mask something else. Low motivation, overwhelming feelings, perhaps fear of looking foolish. I've heard people say that they'll always be treated as a foreigner, so why bother? When you speak to them in Japanese and they say, Nihongo Jouzu Desune, your Japanese is so good. It can feel like they're putting you in a box as an outsider no matter how well you speak. And that's discouraging for learners sometimes. So let me uncover what's really happening behind those well-intended but sometimes demotivating comments. Decode Nihongo Jouzu Desune. When a Japanese person says your Japanese is so good, do they mean you'll never fit in? Not quite. Japanese culture values humility. Complimenting your Japanese is a way of saying, I'm amazed you made this effort. They're also embarrassed by the fact that they can't speak your language. Truth is, they're pleasantly surprised. Meeting somebody from abroad who mastered Japanese was rare until recently. Well, it is still rare. So that reaction actually comes from admiration, not from putting you in a separate category. Remember, most of Japanese people can't speak in English, which is the common language of the world. And you come to Japan and speak Japanese, which is only spoken in Japan. So just imagine how impressive that is to Japanese people. I know some of you are baffled by the fact some Japanese people respond in English when you speak to them in Japanese. So let's look into it a bit and see how you can respond and keep the conversation in Japanese. Talking in Japanese and taking the lead. So they switch to English. Do you fall back? Big mistake. They may respond to you in English mainly for two reasons. Their brain can't process the fact that you're speaking in Japanese because you look like you're from abroad. Do you call this racist and not accepting you as a member of public? Japan remains one of the most ethnically homogeneous developed nations with around 98.5 to 99% of its population being racially Japanese. So most of the Japanese people actually can't get their heads around it. Without thinking, they just respond in English. And yes, some just want to practice their English. When you speak Japanese and they reply in English, you can gently insist, Nihongo de daijoubu desu. Japanese is fine. Show confidence and take the lead. Don't wait for their reply on that and just change the subject and continue in Japanese straight after, like it's a normal thing. And it generally works. But if your Japanese is rubbish and conversation doesn't flow or takes too long, they will probably try to help by speaking or saying something in English. And this is because they think you're struggling doing the heavy lifting and they come in to lift it up with you. Or completely take the weight from you. I can imagine learning Japanese is so hard, but it will be so rewarding. Let me tell you a bit about my own story. The difference between my life before and after learning English is unreal. My personal language journey. So I come from a stereotypical Japanese household with little or no foreign influence growing up, until I decided to spend some time learning English in my spare time during my university years. I was 20. When I moved to London about 18 years ago, I had to become fluent in English, no exceptions. I wanted a job. I wanted independence. Imagine starting at a -0. If you can't speak the local language, you're automatically behind everyone. In my case, English wasn't optional. It was the very bare minimum I told myself I needed. So what I did, I avoided Japanese expat circles entirely because I didn't want to fall back on my mother tongue. I kept pretending that I was fluent And I kept telling myself I needed to be a native level, otherwise I am less than 0. By mastering English to an okay level, I unlocked many opportunities. I studied, I worked professionally, I started my own business in London. But starting a new language after hitting 20 and becoming absolutely fluent is more difficult than doing so while you're growing up in maybe a bilingual household and going to international school. As much as we want to be perfect immediately, it's more about continuous work and growth. Along the way, people will see and recognize your effort and give you respect. Learning Japanese for my husband and for you in Japan is similar. It's the foundation. Without it, you'll be stuck translating menus and relying on expat communities. Setting up your own business and taking control of your life may be more difficult. Maybe you can't fully connect with the local Japanese people around you, but with it, you're free, like having a backstage pass to a Japanese life. But I still think translation apps are pretty good these days, some may say. Now I think we can talk about the real reasons, the real benefits of being able to speak Japanese in Japan. So why is it genuinely worth your time? Being able to speak Japanese is useful in Japan, but it's not just about practical reasons. The real reason is about connection. You will build deeper friendships, not just English-speaking expats. Learning Japanese shows respect, it earns trust, and most importantly, you start understanding the subtle emotions that live in the words of the people, which often get lost in translation. I love saying this, but language is culture. So if you don't speak it, I think you will just get the flattened version of whatever it is. By the time the meaning gets to you, it's just some lifeless information. I think Japanese is even more so than other languages because of the high context communication habits that lives in a culture. So I have a question for you and for my husband. I hope he's listening. So which package would you like? Would you like a light package of flattened dead information? You will surround yourself with lifeless information, and you just observe the things that happen around you with your eyes, but no real participation, sorry. But it's ready to go. You just need to download some apps. Or would you like a full package of emotion, information, subtle communication between you and them, shared experiences and personal connection? You will fully immerse yourself in the experience and exchange personal connection with one another. You will need to earn it by learning, and it may take some time, but you will get the full experience. This is essentially why I recommend everyone who wants to live in Japan to learn the language. Most of the questions floating around on social media about customs and cultures can actually be understood if you properly learn the language and immerse yourself in the society, because language is culture. It's also better for your emotional well-being. You don't become isolated emotionally. You will share emotions with others, and that's how you feel connected with others. You can't do that by exchanging flattened dead information, plus all of the practical perks you get. And of course, my story is a little different to yours because English is the common language of the world, whereas Japanese is only spoken in Japan. But it honestly opened up so many doors for me, and that should be the same for you. The world I see today and the amount of information I can process in a flash because of both linguistic and cultural understanding, it's just something I would never have imagined. I was studying with pen and paper back then, maybe with a CD. No one told me growing up that the world gets this exciting if I spoke another language, but I sensed it, I sniffed it out, and the depth it brings into my life, especially coming from Japan, which was a relatively closed island country, and you're diving into this country which is relatively still closed. More people say the country is finally open, everyone knows everything about Japan. More I hear those comments, more I think no one knows what it is. But you are deep diving into this country and you will find loads of things you didn't even know existed. Something those who only live in expat communities would never know, but you can go there. Most of the people on social media are just scratching the surface of it, and amazed by the things they see. But you, and hopefully my husband, will deep dive into a completely different layer of understanding of the country. I hope you and my husband are motivated by now. But you might still ask, do I have to be perfect? Because it's kind of difficult. Absolutely not. You don't have to be. Let's wrap it up. You don't need perfect Japanese. Just enough to connect. Clumsy, imperfect Japanese builds bridges faster than your flawless English. Effort matters more than fluency because you're dealing with emotional beings. But obviously, continuously work on your Japanese, and more you use it, you will get better faster. Build on small success and always imagine yourself being completely fluent. You can do it. I always thought language is like a sport. Your mental practice is so important, and you can back it up with your study grind. Always believe 100% in your ability to become 100% fluent. Without this, I don't think our brain unlocks that power we need. It doesn't matter how rubbish you are now, just believe and have confidence in yourself and just work on it. If you're moving to Japan, I recommend start studying today, and I hope he is listening. What's your biggest motivation for studying Japanese? Drop it in a comment. I will read everyone. And if you like this video, please hit like and subscribe for more mid-brow Japanese content. I'll see you in the next video.